Okay, this is just a quick demonstration on how to use the Sphirewall command line interface. And so right now I am sitting on a system, and actually I'm remote from where Sphirewall is running. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can actually have, it's a Python command line interface. You can, if you have Python installed on your server, you can go there and run it from there. For example, I could do this. Okay, and I happen to have Sphirewall running on this, but you have to go to where the, of course, the Python scripts are, and it could be in various places, depending on where you want them. So mine on the actual where the server is installed right here, and I could run and the first parameter. And if I just do this, it's going to tell me all the different options you have of running this. So I might as well explain a little bit of that here. So here normally you put in the username and the password, and if you don't want your password to be echoed, you can do a -p and it'll prompt you for the password. And there's a -SSL option. So this, if you're on the server, if you're running like I am right here, SSH, and you're actually executing on a server, this isn't going to buy you anything at all. But if you're doing it remotely, which I'll show you in a minute how to do that, this is something you may or may not want to do. And this test thing I'll show you in a little bit. But I'm on the server here, so the defaults are basically for the host name and the port. The host name's localhost, and the port is 8001, which are the default, which will work fine if you're running on the server. So let's do that. Now, if I wanted to, I could type in my password here, or I could just do a -p, and we'll just take all the other defaults. It's going to prompt me for my password. And now I'm here. So if you just type basically anything here, if you don't know any of the commands, you just type help, doesn't really matter. And it's basically the commands are divided into two major categories: set commands and show commands. Set commands is anything that's going to wind up changing anything is through a set command. Show command basically just inquire on configuration or firewall rules or whatever, and shows you, displays information. So while I have that there, let me just get out of here, and what I'm going to do is go back to my remote system, and I happen to have the scripts installed here. And if you have the binary distribution of Sphirewall, if you go into usr share Sphirewall, and you'll see a directory called scli, and the Python scripts are in there, and you can just copy those anywhere you want. So I have them here. So what I'm going to do is basically the same command I did before, and there's a name, but this time, and I'll do -p, but this time I got to put in the address of the server and the port. So it's 8001 if you're going normal, and it's 8003 if you're using SSL, that SSL option. So we'll just do that, and it's going to be my password again. And now I'm in, but I'm on a remote system. And this is something you may want to do if you don't want to install Python on the server. The security concept of don't install anything that you don't really need. So this is something you may want to do. But after this point, everything else is the same. So let's look at some show commands. So just do show, and I'll do a list here. And so let's do show config. And basically what it'll do is sort of lead you on to how to complete commands. So I just do this. I don't know what else to do, so I'll hit enter, and it shows me a few options here: runtime, system, log level. So let's do show, and here is our runtime commands here. And basically just showing you these parameters. Something I should mention: the way this is laid out, you do need the Python library pretty tables installed to run this. And that's how the display is getting laid out in the table format like this. So let's look at some other show commands. So we can do show firewall. I don't know what else to do, so I can do show firewall ACLs, ACLs, and these are my rules. They're displaying here. 0, 1, and 2. First rule takes effect first, and second and third, and all that. So I have that there, and we can do let's do some other shows here. It shows me my groups that are available, and I could well, and I do that. It says, well, it's still not done yet. I got to give it a group name. So actually, I think it's an ID. I actually think that's supposed to be an ID. Yeah, it is. That's a little. It should be an ID, not name. But anyway, and so it shows me the quotas for that particular user. I mean that particular group. And we can do show network. There's only one option there. And there are my devices. So you get the general idea how to do the show commands. Now the set commands are a little bit more complicated, as you might imagine. So let's look at what we have available for set, and it's pretty much the same as the shows. So we can do set config and set config what? And runtime, well, we have to specify what parameter we want, so let's pick one. So show here's what we got. Let's pick something that's fairly harmless. Again, having copy paste is really nice. Let's do this last act timeout. That's a nice. I'll just take this here, copy that away. So now I'll do my set. And again, if I do this, it'll give me the instructions. I can just do my little up arrow parameter, which I just copied. And I'll do an equal, and I'll set it to, let's say, I think it was 30 before, I'll just set it to 40. Okay, so it did that, so we can do a show to confirm, yeah, last time I was set to 40, so you can do that. Okay. So let's look at our firewall rules. So for we can add, move, delete, and QoS quality of service, basically the same thing. So let's do the move, since that's one of the easier ones. Oh, I gotta be careful. I'm gonna lock myself out. So do that, and I have to enter a rule number. So now to do that, I gotta find out what they are. So do a show. Here they are, and the rule numbers are actually inside the parentheses. The number on the left is the position, and the rule numbers are in the parentheses. If you're used to old version of this, we used to do it by position, but now we do it by the actual rule number. So what do I want to do here? I'll move this one. So again, go to copy paste, comes to the rescue. So I'm going to do got that. But we're still not done because we have to tell it what direction we want to move it up, we want to move it down. So hit the up arrow, just do up, and now I can do the confirmed that I did move it up. So now it's up there. So now I'm going to put it back. Luckily we have the up arrow here, so I'm just going to take default 1 and I'm going to move it down. Oops. Sometimes it gets hard to see what it's going to do, so I'm going to do. And now it's back to where it was. Okay. So basically that's the whole idea, but if I just set want to do an add, this can get quite complicated, as you see here. And if you use the BNF form of syntax, this is basically the way it's done here. So as you can see, what you have to either do after the add, accept or reject, and all this. It gets fairly complicated here. But once you do it a couple of times, then it's not too bad. But actually, this is a good point. Is this command could get very long, or what happens is, depending on what kind of terminal you're using, it can wrap around on the same line, and then it gets a little bit confusing about what you're actually typing, especially if you start doing backspaces and all that. And I'm going to show you a way of getting around that. The way to get around that is the same logon we have. We do a -test. Now normally this is for testing, but what it does, I got to give a password again, is it actually separates the prompt from your input. So you have your input goes below the prompt, but it will not wrap on the same line. It'll wrap and go to the next line. So a lot of times it's easier to see if you're using a really long command. And just do exit and you're out, and that is basically it.